Are you 16 to 24, looking for something positive to do? Why not get involved? To get involved, visit mashupderby.co.uk.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our very first episode of 1 Hour With. And we are spending 1 hour with, who is in our company today?
Dennis James Rees, OBE.
Wow. Sounds very interesting. OBE, indeed. What does OBE stand for, sorry?
Officer of the, Order of the...
British Empire, is it?
Yeah.
How long have you been an OBE?
207.
Oh,
That's interesting.
a couple of years. Are you settling into it?
Well, yeah.
So we're going to keep it rolling. We're going to, as I say, mark this 1 Hour With series. First things first, we're going to ask what's good about Derby. In the second half, we'll talk to Dennis about what's not so good in Derby. And in the third half, in true politician style, we've got to bring it round to the improvements of what can be done to make things better. So, Dennis, I think I've spoken way too much. Can you potentially tell us what are the pitfalls and the bad bits in Derby City? What is not so good?
Well, it depends whether you're talking Derby or Derby Homes, so...
Should we keep it in Derby as general in opposed to Derby Homes?
Derby in general. I mean, I think that we let down badly by the council. I think that all the time they're blaming government. The other local authorities are actually doing the things that Derby's stopped doing. But now, all of a sudden, because it's an election next May, all the roundabouts are now being planted. You know, they're trying to make the place really look nice at last. And on the Pentagon Island, they've got a thing, proud of Derby. So what we got to be proud of? You know, there's been cuts, and more cuts. You know, the problem is that we're not getting the grass cut, we're not getting this, and they're making excuses all the time, got no money. And then all of a sudden something comes up, we've got loads of money. I mean, the last couple of days they've said we're going to spend all this on the assembly rooms, we're going to spend this on the silk mill, we're going to do this somewhere else. And the problem is, if something comes up, we've got the money. So I don't see why they can say in one hand they haven't got the money. I mean, just look at the assembly rooms. What a mess they've made of that. It's been empty all this time. I mean, they could have turned it round and cleared it out for, you know, 30 or 40,000 pounds instead of leaving it empty all this time.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's a disaster, you know, walking on legs. Until we get next May, and if people, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of chatter online and that, you know, get rid of this council. But the problem is that people that's died in the war voting, they either don't vote or what's his name, so they still get in through apathy. You know, if they had made you vote, everybody had to vote, I think then we might get something different. And the problem is, in the last election, look at the young people that voted, that put the Labour in, you know, really good stead. Yeah. I mean, Chris Williamson, he lost by, was it 41 votes 41. Last time? But got a huge majority this time.
Yeah.
But, because of promising the students no tuition fees. Well, it's like, you know, turkey's voting for Christmas, isn't it?
So, not to cut you short, Dennis, but
no.
The council have a foot in it, really. They are part of a problem that is bigger.
Yes.
Because we keep talking about cuts.
Yes.
And no money.
Yes. And obviously they have had cuts, but they cut the wrong services as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the problem is they talk about the youth. I mean, look what happened. They got rid of all the youth clubs. They got rid of all the youth workers. Mm-hmm. And then there's problems with the youth. Well, what did they expect?
Mash Up Radio. Would you like to get involved? Visit us at mashupderby.co.uk for more details. Mashup Radio by young people for young people.
It's a no-brainer. It really is a no-brainer. Can I almost come around to you drive a car?
Yep.
What about the road networks in Derby? Have you been in Derby all your life?
No, I was born in Wales, left Wales when I was 5, moved to Nottingham, and I've been in Derby about 35 years.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Okay. So what about the roads then? I guess you've had a chance to see the roads in Wales, roads in Nottingham. Is Derby a hot spot for roadworks? I.e., are they doing good roadworks here, or are they messing things up?
Well,
not bringing question to the Kingsway traffic lights.
No, I mean, some problem to me, it's like the utilities. Instead of getting a grip of the utilities, you go down a road, you've got the gas digging the road up, right? They put it right. 3 weeks later, you've got the electric board or the water board doing the same thing. You know, to me, they should have some really say, right, if you've got some work, do it then.
Yes.
And the problem is, when I lived in Nottingham, I always called Derby because I didn't know it. And now, when I go back to Nottingham, Nottingham's changed. And I think Derby is very restricted in the places you can come in and go out. Like Pride Park, putting the football ground there, what a disaster when the football's on, because it's gridlocked, isn't it?
Yeah, the A52 does become a bit of a no-go zone.
Yeah, and it's same as this arena, isn't it? So what happened? Derby City Council said, we've got a sponsor. Can't tell you yet, because it's top secret. But where they are, they haven't had it yet. And it was built as a multi-venue, which is a disaster, isn't it? They did the pantomime there, and lots of people complained and said, you know, this won't open, that won't open, couldn't get in, couldn't park.
It hasn't improved either, I don't think. I won't even cause light to what I went into. I went into there to use the toilet, and the toilet was in a bad state, and it just put me off completely. So beyond actually using any of the facilities in there for the leisure activities, I was just put off simply by the toilet.
Yeah.
And I won't tell you what I found, but it didn't make me smile anyway.
No, I don't think we want to know what you found.
Trust me, it did not.
No, and the problem is, it's how many people, Derby peoples, actually you're going to use that facility for the cycles, because it's too expensive. And look at the swimming. I mean, they've got all these posters up. We're going to build this 20 million, 25 million swimming pool, aren't we? So close more ways, close the Queen Street baths.
Still waiting for it.
Instead of, you know, letting them come and get Queen Street right, then not more ways down, but no, all shut more ways straight away. They seem to do things arse about upwards, don't they?
So maybe it's the way the decision-making process runs.
Yeah, but the decision, I mean, in the old days with council, they used to have committees, didn't they? Now it's cabinet members who make the decision on their own. And obviously, they've got the recommendations from the officers. But the problem is that unless they're really good, the officers are making the decisions rather than the councillors. And we all know when the committees met, it was always the people in power, whichever group it was, the decision was made before the committee met, because I had the fortunate to be on the housing committee. And we know, because we had conversations with the councillors before, and they always gave us a good say at the committee meetings, but the decision was rubber stamped before we actually met.
You're tuned into the sounds of Derby City and the ever magnificent Mashup Radio.
So you're almost being there as a pawn.
Well, no, I mean, I will say one thing. I mean, Chris Williamson was the director of housing at that time, and he, you know, really listened. And obviously we had our say, and we had the papers before the councillors, so that upset some of the councillors because we got the papers first, and although we could have our vocal say in the mix, you couldn't vote.
Yeah.
But obviously the voting didn't matter because it was done on party lines, same as it is today.
It's a funny system. I think we have to learn to understand it before we can make it work for us. That's part of it, really. To understand it before you jump in headlong and say, right, we're doing this. You've got
No, and the point is I've stood for the council twice in Nottingham, and I lost by about 15 votes. But the problem is, people when they're voting, vote in ABC, me being Rees,
Yes.
that they could vote for 3 people for argument's sake, and some just voted for the first 3.
Yes, yeah. You need to change your surname, Dennis. Get in the A's. Get in the A's, yes.
Okay, I'm going to open up. I've spoken way too much. We're about halfway through our first half, and we're definitely looking at the bad bits of Derby City. Tandika, is there anything in Derby City that has flagged up as a bit to you or in your mind?
I think it's the lack of sharing information for me in regards to Derby City, be it things that are going on for any various age group. I don't really know what's going on unless you go and you sign up to certain kind of websites or a particular place of interest. For example, if you're into things that are going off at the quad, if you sign up and you subscribe, then you know what's going on. Other than that, there is nowhere that you can just think, okay, I want to do something with the under 5s today. The kids are off school. What can I do for entertainment in regards to the kids being off school? What's the best new restaurant in Derby at the moment? That kind of stuff. There's no kind of collated review of anything that's going off in Derby. I think if people didn't see on the news in regards to the poppies, is it the Weeping Poppies?
Yeah.
Yeah, if it wasn't on the news, I don't think a lot of people would have known that it was there. And same in relation to the actual poppies that they've printed. They've printed on the floor in certain areas of
From the station to the...
from the train station to the actual Weeping Poppies. I don't think if they hadn't explained in regards to that, or if I wasn't in the circles to find out what it was about, then I wouldn't actually know it was there. So I'd be looking at those thinking, what is it? What's that? Why is there one random poppy and then another random poppy? I think just letting people know what's going on in Derby in general. There should be somewhere where all that information is.
Well, it's communication, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess that's why we're here. We're trying to build a hub for everything to go through, really. No
And the
matter how
problem
big it
is, with the poppies, if you're disabled, there's no transport from the station to the poppies. So if you're disabled, you've either got to find your own transport or get a taxi or something like that.
Yeah.
Because you can't follow the poppy trail.
You could try.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't think you'll get very far.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good. Okay, so we also have our guest, Luke, who is local to the Stockbrook area. But I'm going to almost come back to Dennis. Would you be prepared to share with us where you live? It was a question that Luke had. I'm not going to steal it from him, but...
Well, I live at Chadderston, and we moved in, as I say, 35 years ago, and the house had just been painted, but it was got metal windows. The kitchen was a mess. The tile was on the floor, and everything was going to be done. And in the end, we put a kitchen in us. With being involved with Derby Homes, we've really got some of the stuff altered, because in the past they just came and said, one of my typical comments was, we're going to paint the door, but it's going to be green. You got no consultation whatsoever.
Mashup Radio. Would you like to get involved? Visit us at mashupderby.co.uk for more details. Mashup Radio, by young people, for young people.
You didn't want the green door.
Well, you got no choice.
You mentioned your relationship with Derby Homes. Would you be able to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that years and years ago, before they started, in about 201, we was told there was this new arm's length. It wasn't called an arm's length. This new system coming on board, and would we be interested? And they said you would get about £100 million to improve your properties. Would you be interested? So the Tenant Federation at that time said yes, we would be interested. So we, along with the City Council, looked at the options, whether it would be better to go an arm's length management organisation, housing association, or stay as we was. And the council didn't want housing association. We didn't want housing association because at that time the housing association rents were £25 a week dearer than the council properties. So we didn't want a £25 increase.
Yeah, definitely.
So then 3 members of the DACP and 3 members from the housing department went round the customer panels. Can you remember the customer panels?
Yes, yeah.
And we went round and talked to all the 33 customer panels at that time to say, let's go the arm's length. So we went, we had a vote, we talked to loads of tenants, and I think it was 48% turnout and 88% in favour.
You mentioned the DACP. What does the DACP stand for?
Well, it's Derby Association of Community Partners, and it's like the Tenant Federation. And the problem is with the DACP, it's better known out there than it is in Derby because we've travelled all over the country. I've travelled all over the country. I've talked all over the country. So.
Good.
Just to enlighten everybody, we have had Josh enter the room. We are involved in 1 hour with Dennis, which is it's been eventful so far. Luke hasn't spoken much, but at the same time, we've got about 2 minutes before we're going to hear from our sponsors, and I'm hoping that Josh is going to step into the hot seat as well. Do you have any questions for Dennis?
Would you say a large issue with the council that you were talking about is maybe not just communication but transparency as well when you raise your issues, like logic in making decisions, such as when they close the swimming bath instantly?
Yeah, I mean, they send surveys round, the council sends a survey.
Yeah.
But why do we bother filling them in? Because they don't take one bit of notice of it. If the point is they did a survey and said, yeah, this is it, and these are the results, yeah, but they don't. They just get the results back and ignore them as far as we know, because you never get any information to say.
So if they could send back information that said, we received these results, this is what was generally said, and this is the decision we've made, that would be a vast improvement on it.
Oh, of course it would.
It comes back to communication again.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely, communication is the key.
Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is the key, apparently. But yeah, communication is all part and parcel of that. Dennis, we're about to go into our second half, but we are going to play you a bit of poetry. Maybe you can share your views on the poetry. It would be really appreciated. Unfortunately, it's not been listened to me already, so we're just as fresh to it as you are. But we'll have a listen, and hopefully in the second half, we'll discover what everyone's thoughts and feelings on this poetry are. Fingers crossed, it's all good, but we can only wait and see.
You're now tuned in to the sounds of Mash Up Radio. Mash Up Radio. Would you like to get involved? Visit us at mashupderby.co.uk for more details.